All right, we good to go? All right. I want to thank everybody for coming. Sad that it is the event that it is to bring us all together. I do want to thank some of you. I've seen some of your reporting, and I saw some of you on air asking for prayers from officers, so I appreciate that extra addition to your reporting out there. I want to introduce some people. I'm Chief John Terrell. This is David Fornshell, Warren County Prosecutor. Lieutenant Stacy will be available after the chat if you have some public records request or something you want, so we can start getting ready for that. This is Steve Meterspaw, one of our trustees, and we have some police officers in the back. I'm not going to get too far into a lot of the details because that night after the event I did invite the Bureau of Criminal Investigation in to do an independent review of our actions that night. So we are currently involved in that investigation, so I'm not going to get into too far the details of what happened, but I do want to give you some idea of how we ended up there and what transpired. So July 12th, we went to, let me get the address right for you, it's 5945 State Route 48, in reference to a domestic call. About 7:16 in the afternoon, the wife reported that the deceased, Mark Evers, who's a white male, age 65, was ramming her car with a gator that he was on, and that they were involved in a fight. So the officers arrived at their farm. He had gotten on a gator and went back into the farmland. So we were there probably for maybe an hour trying to coax him back up to the front to talk to him. It was the intent of the officers to arrest him for domestic violence based upon the information that we had from the wife up to that point of as far as what had transpired. There was some phone calls with him on the phone trying to get him to come back up to talk with us. He finally agreed to come back up to the front of the farm on the gator and speak to us, but he wanted the officers to remain 10 foot away from him while he did that. Sergeant Nicole Cordero is the sergeant that was involved in the shooting, and Officer Eric Ney is our officer that was shot. Nikki was able to walk up to the side of him at one point and have him fill out some reports. At that point in time, she asked him to turn the gator off. You'll see it that we do have a video. You're going to see in the video that the gator guns. You can hear the engine rev as maybe he was trying to take off. Was her intent at that point in time to arrest him for the domestic violence charge. In the video, you're going to see him bail out the other side of that vehicle. He will raise his arm, and I think you can discern two shots fired at Officer Ney, who was in front of the vehicle walking around. If you watch the video, when you hear her say, "Put that gun away," he does pull out a gun. She recognizes that it's a gun. She tells him something to the effect of, "Put that gun away," and she begins reaching for her gun. Officer Ney starts to walk around the front of it. He pulls the gun, and it looks like he fires two shots at that point in time to Officer Ney, striking Officer Ney in the head. Officer Ney goes down and is incapacitated at that time. Sergeant Cordero engages him with gunfire at that point, and this whole thing takes about 10-15 seconds and it's over. When you hear the part about put the gun away, it's very fast, very quick. The shots are very fast, very quick. We are obviously now taking a step back to look at the event. Mr. Fornshell is going to have some comments about that. I'll stay away from it again since we have asked for the investigation and we're part of that. But he'll have some comments about that. But very hectic, very quick as far as what occurs there. And you'll get a clear picture when he talks to you a little bit about that. So we were aware that he might have had a gun at one point in time. She told us it was in the house during the conversations with dispatch. At some point in time, it looks like he obtained that without maybe her knowledge. So Sergeant Cordero and Officer Eric Ney have been with us since about 2008. Nikki she's the one that coordinates our National Night Out program every year that some of y'all come to and advertise. She's the a staple behind that for years. She also runs our Safety Town program. We're very proud of her for that. And then Officer Ney has got some accommodations in the past. He ended up saving a father and son in we had a torrential downpour where a car was swept off the road. And they were captured in a tree. They were ejected from the car, and he was able to get them from that tree. So proud of our officers, but you know, it's tragic where we're at. Tragic somebody had to lose their life, and tragic that we obviously had an officer shot. So you want to say anything before the video, or?
Yeah, well, I'll give them the context.
Okay, I'll turn it over to David.
So as we begin to watch the video today, there's just one thing that I want to bring to your attention for the purposes of context. When we were out at the scene on Tuesday night, obviously we knew we had a exchange of gunfire between Mr. Evers, the deceased, as well as Sergeant Cordero. There were multiple shots that were fired, and we knew that when medics arrived on scene that Mr. Evers was deceased. The belief at that particular point in time was that Mr. Evers' wounds were inflicted by the gunshots fired by Sergeant Cordero. However, yesterday, post-autopsy, I received heads up, if you will, from the coroner's office that one of the gunshot wounds that Mr. Evers suffered was a contact wound to his head. And so what you will see in the video that is getting ready to be played, it is apparent that Sergeant Cordero is not close enough to Mr. Evers to have inflicted that contact wound. What that means is that BCI is going to continue to break down this video. Had this not been a cruiser cam and had it been some other type of video, perhaps shot by a civilian or something along those lines, we probably would have waited a little bit longer and given BCI the opportunity to do their audio and visual analysis of this to determine the exact sequencing of shots and where everybody was at the point in time when each shot was taken. However, what it does mean is that as we stand here today, we do not know and will not know until BCI has concluded its investigation whether the ultimate manner of death that Mr. Evers is going to have listed on his death certificate will be suicide, homicide, or undetermined.
Real quickly before the show the video, I just want to give an update on Officer Ney's condition. And I won't go too far in the details, but he did suffer a shot across his face. It is severe. He's got some hard work ahead of him. However, he did regain conscious yesterday, and then today I just got reported from the officers that came back from up there that he is on his feet and was able to brush his teeth, and so promising on that part, but he's still got quite a ways to go in recovery, so we're pleased to hear that. So LT, this is going to be a pretty quick video, so
Okay. So, what I'm going to ask you to do now is turn off the vehicle. Turn off the vehicle. Turn off the vehicle. You better put that gun away right now. Eric, are you okay? Shots fired. 231 shots fired. What are you guys doing? You pulled the gun on us. Eric! Oh my God, Eric! No! God, dear! Oh my God! Oh my God! Get the officer down!
Would it be possible to play that again?
yeah. Can you?
Okay, want the lights down?
That would be great too.
Can you, are those lights over there, Chief?
All right, if you can grab someone back there.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Ready?
Yeah.
41. Okay. So, what I'm going to ask you to do now is turn off the vehicle. Turn off the vehicle. Turn off the vehicle. You better put that gun away right now. Eric, are you okay? Shots fired. 231 shots fired. What are you guys doing? You put the gun on us. Eric! Oh my God, Eric! No! God damn! Oh my God! Oh my God! There's the officer down.
Grab the lights, please. So as you can see, he bailed out the opposite side of that, and he fired the first shots. So, any questions of me? And again, understand I'm going to be limited on what I'm going to say.
Was Officer Ney shot twice?
I think you started.
Or you said 2 shots were fired at Officer Ney. Was he shot twice?
Officer Ney received 1 shot.
I was going to ask similar to that in terms of how many I was trying to count the shots. Were there 5 shots?
Yeah, I'm going to not go into that. That'll be part of the investigation by BCI, so I don't want to get into treading into their independent investigation of us, so I'll leave that to them.
Chief, the domestic violence call that brought them out there, what brought the officer to the point that they were ready to arrest him? What had he done to the wife?
We understand that he had got upset with her because she had wrapped the horse's legs wrong. That was what was relayed to the dispatch, and that a fight ensued. They were arguing back and forth, and he was ramming her vehicle with that same ATV that he was in, the Gator there. We did see that at the scene we got there, her vehicle had been rammed. So some of those actions were enough that we could progress with a domestic violence charge, and the point was to get him up to commence that arrest, and you saw what transpired.
You
So.
said fight. I heard argue as well. Was it a physical fight? Or
No, it was arguing back and forth, yes. But she was scared. She actually, I think at one point, went out to the front road to try to get away from him to call us and stuff. And he engaged her again out there arguing. And then he took off into the back of the farm. And that's when we got there and had to try to get him back out. So,
Based
So
on
do we
previous
know-
calls to that address, did your officers have reason to believe that he had even violent toward her in the past?
you know, I know that night somebody asked me something about domestic. I probably need to back up for just a second. We have been there before, not necessarily between him and her, but we've been there with previous neighborhood arguments with him. I know on a couple of occasions previously, when they were there, when the officer went to the front door, he answered the door with a gun in his hand. Another occasion, I believe he was fighting or arguing with a neighbor. I believe he had a rifle in his possession at that time. So we've been there before with weapons involved before, but there had not been domestic between the two of them before that I can go back and look and see now.
How recently have those exchanges been with the neighbors?
We can make those reports available if you want to get those.
And
Chief,
third,
Okay.
did the suspect respond verbally to the officer's commands in any way?
When?
When she told him to turn the gator off?
Well, the video speaks for itself. The engine was revved. Don't know if that was trying to get away. If he shoved it while he was trying to get out, he bailed out the other side and drew a weapon. That's when you hear her say, "You better put that gun away." And then you saw what occurred from there. Yes,
Chief,
go ahead.
Oh, thank you. And so, do we know if the guns that Evers had were legally obtained or illegally obtained?
That'll be part of BCI's investigation. We're separate of that investigation. Normally, a police department would handle investigations. In this case, we wanted the independent review, so we asked them to come in. So there are that investigating body now for us, and they'll answer those questions as part of their report when they give it to Mr.
Yeah, and so
Fornshell.
I also have one follow-up. So you mentioned that he had kind of been armed in the past during different incidents. Is there anything you think your agency could have done to maybe flag him or better warn officers that he is an armed threat?
Well, I think the officers knew that. You're assuming we didn't. We did know that in the past we'd encountered him with weapons. And he's on his private property. He's allowed to be in possession of weapons. So.
Sir, Chief, who's the third man seen yelling, "Oh my God, what have you
I
done?"
believe he was a worker for the farm.
Chief, how is Sergeant Cordero doing? I know this is, probably
Well, she was pretty devastated that night. Obviously, you can see her reaction there. Time has passed a little bit, so It's going to be tough work. You know, it's going to weigh on her, I'm sure. So.
What's her status right now? Is she-
She's on administrative leave until we get the report back from BCI.
Chief, multiple calls, was it just from the wife, or was this worker one of the people that called? Do you know who all was calling?
Talking about that night?
Yes.
I think the calls were all from her to dispatch.
Chief, how many shootings have there been in your department under your watch?
The department was established in 1975. I've been here since 2007 as the chief. We have not had an officer-involved shooting prior to this, nor have we had an officer shot prior to this.
What kind of counseling services are available to Officer Ney?
There is a support group. Actually, they'll have some individual ability to get counseling. We actually will have a counseling session coming up for all the officers involved from whatever agency. And I want to thank all the agencies involved. I want to thank David's office. They've been tremendous. I mean, the cars that arrived that night were unbelievable. But that will go out to any of those agencies, including the fire departments that were involved in that night. So we'll look at taking care of our own people for that too.
And so how is Officer Ney doing right now? What's his condition?
His wounds are severe. He's got a road ahead of him. Like I said, a little while ago, got noticed that he is up and walking, which is quite phenomenal for what he went through. So it looks like we're headed to a recovery, and then he's, I'm not going to get too much into his medical issues, but he's clearly got some surgeries he's going to have to attend to and stuff like that.
David, help us understand how, you mentioned this possibility of suicide, undetermined homicide. Take us through the steps, what may happen.
I'll give that to the council.
So again, BCI is still conducting its investigation, and that will typically include an evaluation of what you all saw. We're producing this now because we have public records requests and we have a reasonable period of time to produce that. So that's what we're doing here today. But what BCI will do is they will do a pretty thorough analysis of the video as well as the audio, utilizing what evidence, including shell casings and things like that, were collected at the scene to ultimately be able to make a determination, hopefully, as to the sequencing of all of the gunshots that you heard in that video. Now, based upon the information provided by the autopsy yesterday, we do know at this point in time that he was shot multiple times. There was a contact wound to his head, which could have been fatal, and there was also at least one other gunshot to his torso, which itself could have been fatal. However, the sequencing of which of those shots came first may dictate how the coroner ultimately decides whether this is a suicide, a homicide, or if they're not able to determine the sequencing, an undetermined manner of death. And so, depending on which of those shots happened first, certainly if it was a contact head wound, head shot that came first, that would tend to point potentially towards suicide. However, if the shot that came first is the torso shot, and subsequent to that you have the contact head shot, arguably the coroner could come back as a homicide as the manner of death. But until we get that information back, there's no way for us to be able to, as we stand here today, tell you that the manner of Mr. Evers' death was either a suicide, a homicide, or not determined.
Mr. Fornshell, to be clear, contact wound, that's like point blank.
That is flush. That means that it was flush against the forehead, not a close range shot, a flush shot.
So how else does that happen if it's not suicide?
Right. Unless, I mean, you saw the video, so I'm not going to get into BCI's investigation. I'm saying based upon what video we have, it is obvious that Sergeant Cordero was not close enough to be able to inflict that shot. So if you have a contact wound, arguably that's Mr. Evers.
You able to say what kind of gun?
No, not at this point in time.
Chief, is there anything you want to say on behalf of your department to the citizens of Clearcreek Township about the service that your men and women provide and will continue to provide for the
Yeah, the community outpouring has been great. There have been people here every day dropping stuff off, things like that. I've had phone calls. I've had people come in and want to see me. We're very appreciative of them coming forward and showing us that love. So again, just prayers for his recovery, and that we're appreciative of what the community's done for us. And again, I appreciate your guys' help on passing some of that word in the past. So
Can we get the spelling of Mark's name?
it is M-A-R-K and Evers, E-V-E-R-S. He's 65 years of age.
Can we get the officer's spelling too?
It's Eric, E-R-I-C, Ney, N-E-Y, and then Nicole, N-I-C-O-L-E, Cordero, C-O-R-D-E-R-O.
Chief, what we saw in the video there was cruiser camera, right?
Correct, it's
Your
cruiser
department
camera.
does not yet have body cams, correct?
We do not yet know.
Is that in process?
We are looking at that now. I just went to a recent seminar on some of that stuff, so we are looking at adopting that sometime in the future coming up. But that was cruiser camera.
How fortunate is it that the cruiser was parked in the right place to catch all that? And would you have had any other way of knowing exactly how it transpired if the cruiser wasn't parked in that position?
Well, we have what the officers can tell us, and I believe the officers, so I would have absolute idea of what transpired coming from them. Yes, in my 41 years, I can't say I've been real lucky at always having the cruiser pointed in the right direction. So we're happy that did transpire in front of it. Not that we're happy it happened, but at least that it was recorded, so we can present that to the public as part of our transparency. So.
Can you repeat how long the officers were on the scene before the incident took place?
I don't know the exact time. I know that from the time of the call's arrival, somewhere within an hour there, we were on scene trying to get him to come back up out of the farm.
So he had driven the gator way back, a ways back on the property.
Yeah.
So the officers were there with the wife, and then they were also trying to get him
Correct.
on the phone.
There were some phone
Drive back up.
conversations back and forth to him to try to get him to come back up, yes.
Did your officers recover any other weapons?
That's going to be BCI still. Sorry.
Chief, my uncle is a sheriff in West Virginia, and I messaged him saying these domestic violence calls can be crazy, escalate out of nowhere. Do you think that's kind of what happened in this case? There were already known qualities and emotions were already running high.
I think the investigation hopefully will show probably Mr. Evers' thought pattern that night a little bit. There's probably some stuff out there that might come forward for that. Other than that, I don't get too far involved in it. You know, domestic violence is, we always raise the risk that there's already a fight going on. We get there, or an argument going on, we get there, and we walk in cold and get stuck in the middle of that argument, and we can't get in their heads. We don't know what they're thinking, and it's a dangerous situation for the officers, and you know, this one just ended up tragic. So.
Did Sergeant Cordero just walk up to the gator, or had he kind of said, okay, you can walk up and give me something to fill out a report, or kind of how did...
She engaged him in writing a report to answer back to the complaints of the wife. He allowed her to approach to do that. That's what allowed her to get close enough to him with his first request to stay away.
Chief, where was the wife during this?
I don't know. Again, that's going to be part of their investigation. So.
And as far as her, no injury, she's not hurt?
No.
Has BCI told you how long they expect this investigation to take?
No, they have not. I'm sure they'll be thorough, and I want them to be thorough so they can take as much time as they want to get to the end of it. So.
Were both rounds in the Mr. Evers' body, they both from Cordero's weapon?
I didn't say there were 2 rounds in Mr. Evers' body, but I mean, he had rounds in his body. Yes, I didn't give you the count. I'm not going to give you the count. And again, that's going to be part of their investigation.
Well, David, you said multiple. Are you
Yeah,
able
multiple.
to say?
Yeah, there were multiple. I mean, he did suffer multiple gunshot wounds, and
Say how?
no, we'll wait until we get the complete autopsy. The information that was provided to me yesterday was there were multiple gunshot wounds, at least 2 of which could have been fatal. And I say could have been; they both would have been, independent of each of the other shots. As to which one of those ends up being the fatal shot, that's something that we're going to have to wait for VCI and the coroner's office to sort out, and that's what's going to be listed as the manner of death. I would also state that just because something is listed as a homicide does not in any way mean that the officer was at fault or faces any type of criminal liability. That simply means that the death was at the hand of someone other than Mr. Evers himself. So a homicide manner of death finding does not in any way mean that the officer acted in any way unlawfully.
Chief, this, can you talk about how it impacts the department in terms of, number one, the emotions, but number two, you have 2 officers right now off the job and it's not a large department.
Yeah, right now I think we have about 18 members. It's hard enough right now to find policemen. We have some openings, and it's difficult to even find policemen to come in and want to be police officers anymore. So it is going to be an impact on us. The Sheriff's Department in Springboro picked up calls for us there for about 24 hours helping us out, so we're back to somewhat normal on that. Yeah, the impact is devastating. We did lose a couple officers a few years ago with an OVI crash and one dying of a heart attack. So, yeah, it weighs on us all the time, and here we are with another incident. So,
Chief, not to take away from the severity while we're all here, but any words of encouragement for individuals maybe going through any form of mental illness, domestic violence and such?
yeah, seek counseling. You know, there are a lot of factors out there with mental illness, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, and I know it's difficult, but before you get yourself to that point, or if you know somebody that's at that point, try to get help or try to get them some help. So.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time.